happened before. Hi.
We're here, guys.
Surprise.
So much for that intro and fancy opening. We were trying to figure out what the heck was going on there, but it's Wednesday night, technical difficulty night on the No Remorse show.
Wouldn't be
typical.
no remorse without technical difficulties.
Seems like something every week, right? Whether it's minor or major. Sometimes a guest can't get in, sometimes the video doesn't play, sometimes nothing works. But we're back, we're going to do it anyways. We're just going to push through it. But that is a first. I've never had that intro video not start or play or do anything. Audience could probably hear us back there going, what in the world? What the F? But anyway, we're going to skip right past it. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. We've got an awesome guest tonight. Been wanting to get Josh on for some time. Super interesting guy, super knowledgeable, great projects, and doesn't do just ball pythons. He's got some different species that he works with, and I'm curious about some of those myself, so I'm probably going to beat some of those other species up a little bit just to increase my knowledge. So, again, appreciate everybody. News for the week. Start off with maybe an adjustment. We're going to kind of run this through a couple channels. We need to move the show a little bit earlier. I know we hit on this all the time as we're closing up that East Coast people, it's getting late for them. You know, people are starting to drop off. Hey, I got to get the heck out of here. I got to work tomorrow. Jason, same scenario. He's up at 4 a.m. where he's at, drives in for that early commute. So we'd like to push this down to 8. I don't like to do that. I don't like to change people's schedules. I don't like to change people's expectations, but I think it still leaves room on the front end for the other shows that are going on. And it actually kind of takes a half hour of overlap off of Herp Collectors Network with their plant show too. So probably would work better for us, probably would work better for the guests and maybe for the audience too. So pop that in the comments if you have a little bit to say either way, one way or the other. If it matters to you guys out there, if we shift it 8 o'clock instead of the 8:30, I think it's going to work better in the long run. But other than that, we got an expo coming up, or I should say first one for us, our first vending experience. That's the 18th. I didn't grab a screenshot of where that's at. It's Eau Claire, Wisconsin, but it's the Exotic Pet Fair put on by Emily and Ed from why does that always escape me?
Snake Discovery.
It's the simplest name, and I say it a million times until I get on this show. Yes, from Snake Discovery. I know their name. I can't think of their business. So they do several kind of local ones around here, Twin Cities area, border crossing from Wisconsin to Minnesota. We're going to do the one in Eau Claire the 18th. I think that runs from 10 in the morning that day to 4 in the afternoon. So if you're in the area, you have the opportunity, you want to come out and say, hey, definitely do that. Come up to us, say hey, shake our hand. If we know you already, great, we'll hang out at the table. I don't know if we can have a beer. I'm going to try to have one in the cooler, but depends on the venue. Some venues don't appreciate that. Other ones don't care at all. So, but yeah, come say hi at the very least. We'll get a photo with you because we like to collect those too. But anyways, that's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. So, same kind of news we have almost every week. Some of the things have come and gone. One thing that hasn't come and gone is I got the shirt on tonight too, Chris. I don't know if you're out there looking, but I do have it. Deeds, not words, guys. This is important. It's still going on. I'm not sure what the cutoff is in the time frame on this, but Camp Freedom, send a vet off to enjoy a little bit of free time and a little bit of what they previously enjoyed before their service. So it's the least we could do. These people gave a ton for every one of us every day for our freedoms, and to give a little back is not asking a lot. So super important. Go get a t-shirt, donate cash if you have the means to do so. It goes 100% direct to those vets. So super important. Deeds, not words, guys. Jump over to the Fat Man Nation and check that out. He's got all the links there too. So links are in the comments below. So that's always going to be a thing. We won't put Jamie on the spot for the affiliates. Hopefully the commercials and things work, but we still are going to put Jason on the spot. We're going to put him on the spot for this. I think he knows what that is.
Chris at BNS Reptilia. Coco2go and The Chipper. So if you have bedding or substrate needs, go check those out for sure. We've tried them and do love those. Chris also accepts Forge Coin and has multiple species of animals. I believe he accepts Forge Coin for everything. That's correct, right, John?
Yes.
Yeah,
You've
I
said
think he
that.
does pretty wide open. Yep, snakes,
Yep.
merch, whatever you want. Yep.
So you can cover a lot of your needs. If you haven't checked out Chris's stuff, he's got really some nice animals. And like I said, the Coco2go and The Chipper are great products. So don't forget about him.
Yeah, for sure. And that one we aren't going to bug Jamie with. We've got something put together for that. But let's say hey to everybody out there in the audience. People that came out to see Josh. People that just came out to hang out. Oh, we got Shauna. Good to see Shauna in here. I always say the wheels on the bus, but that's the engine in the bus. Otherwise, that thing's on the shoulder smoking. So, Vance, Blue Zombie Morphs. If you get a chance, guys, every Saturday he runs 2
The
o'clock.
Thunderdome.
The Thunderdome.
I have not seen that. I have to get over there on a Saturday. Saturday is really busy. That's my whole catch-up day, but I need to make some time and get over to that.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. I pop in there when I can and sit with them and BS, but it's a good show. Rat Bastard, got Mark out there, Pacific Northwest. Good to see you, sir. He was just a guest. If you did not see that one, go back and check it out. It was a great episode. Blakers, good to see you, sir. Appreciate you coming out. Blakers in the audience all the time. Appreciate
Double
that.
dipper.
We got a double dipper.
Oh, professional.
Somebody in the background there. He says, let me put this Crebo down and put a comment in here real quick. Got Will out of the Python portal. Guest not that far back. You only have to go back probably 4 episodes, watch them all, and then you'll get to Will, probably. I think somewhere back there. It was a good episode. It was a lot of fun. Big D, Derek, good to see you, sir. Jump over to their channel, Outdoors with the Dummies. That is some good content, honestly. A lot of fun.
I should be on that show.
Yeah. Connie, that's Mom, sitting on the couch. Appreciate the folks. They come out every week. Fill up some seats for us. And Tim, the other half of that. So there's 2 in the audience. I know we got 2 likes on the board, but hopefully we got close to 20 likes out there. Don't forget to hit that button, guys. We won't hound you, but Duval. Good to see Duval out there. Appreciate you coming in, man, almost every week.
God, that snake's a monster, man.
Yeah, that is a big one.
Yeah,
It's
it
just
is.
huge.
Jen, good to see you. Still looking forward to Dick Mountain. We do have to get together with you guys and start arranging for that, though. Figure out what the heck we're doing and get all our stuff in order for you. But good to see
That'd
you,
be
Jen.
fun.
Appreciate it. Blake, good to see you, sir. Hope everything is going well. I saw that little wink video you put up earlier. I always appreciate a good wink in the middle of the afternoon. Ash, Morph-minded, good to see you. Mr. Malice, gonna definitely have to sneak Ash on here at some point. I want to go through the whole talks on Benin and the different localities of these ball python dinkers he's working with. So, Josh, having a ball. Always appreciate Josh. Josh is an affiliate, good guy all around, and we actually have an animal from Josh. So, looking forward to using that boy, actually.
Yeah. Hey,
Bone
there
Daddy,
we go.
Vinnie. Yeah.
I wore the camera hating shirt just for Vinnie. Camera hates this shirt for whatever reason, but I love it. So
Yeah, it just does not like that color. It just doesn't
No,
want to
man.
focus for you. But
no,
I always appreciate you, Vinny, 100%.
Did I pop Mark up there already?
You did, yep, but that's
I
all right.
think
We'll
so,
say hi
yeah.
to Mark again.
Okay. I couldn't
One of the
remember.
newest show sponsors down there. And we got Jason Opelt.
Hey,
Jason
buddy.
Opelt has his own music. He didn't want this one. This is the one he gets. And it's certain guests. You want one of those, you have some pull. You've been in here enough, you just say the word and we'll throw some music up there for you guys. John, appreciate you, sir. John and Chance down there in Texas. Great Outdoors. That was a fantastic episode. If you did not see that on the Whiskey Bomb,
Yeah.
go back and check it out. Some really nice bucks. Some
Nice
good
fish
fishing stuff in
too.
there too. So,
Yeah.
Jeff, Bald Head Balls. All you got to do is return here, same time, same place next week. Jeff is going to be on with us, and I'm looking forward to that one for sure. So good to see you out there, Jeff. Appreciate it, man. We got Prophecy. Devin, good to see you in here as always. One of the first contacts we made in all of this 4 or 5 years ago. Hey, get in the Wisconsin Snake Breeders Club.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was club, but he'll know the name of it. Talked to him ages ago, but Devin's a good dude. Tommy, Jamie's buddy. Jamie, you want to say hi specifically?
Yeah.
That's my friend.
It's my friend.
Tommy's a good dude, and yeah, he's a good guy. Eric, good to see you, sir. He's out here every week, too. Appreciate it, man. All these faces are getting
That's
familiar.
funny.
I like that.
Yeah. It's fun.
It is. Robinson, been in a couple different times. They're bopping around all the Whiskey Bomb stuff, too, but always nice to see your face popping in.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Nikki, another Pacific Northwest out there. Good to see you. Hope Kurt and, well, yeah, we'll hope Kurt is not thinking too hard about past events and historic stuff. Titanic.
Oh.
That's the only thing that enters my
That
brain
was
every
so
time I think
funny.
of Kurt.
That was
Yeah.
the best.
The one place he wants to go hang out in time is a sinking ship. I
I mean, what a sight to see, though. I mean,
that
besides
would be
how
something.
tragic it is.
Right.
That would be something.
Yeah, like from a helicopter or a drone or something, you know.
Yeah.
Not on the boat, but
No.
no.
We're all
So
trying.
appreciate everyone out there, 100%. We're always trying to chip away at this, get to our guests quicker, and we did it in almost record time tonight. So thank you everyone for coming out. We're going to put you through a couple commercials. We got an affiliate deal we're going to pop up, and then we got Charlie at Shed Testing. Don't forget about these other sponsors down here, though, guys. We've got B&S that Jason mentioned. We got Rat Bastard, Mark out there, Bone Daddy, and we have Greg and TJ at Rippin' Reptiles, too. So all channel sponsors, appreciate all of them. Dan, thank you for coming out, sir. All right, guys. Hopefully round 2 of technical difficulties doesn't kick in, but we're going to run the affiliates. Let's see what happens. Fingers crossed. No, don't blow up. So once again, many thanks to all the affiliates out there. That group is getting big enough where Jamie was not wanting to read that off. So as we add people in there, we're just going to keep lumping them on that and keep reminding people, don't be afraid to reach out, just say, hey, I'd like to get a shirt from X. I got 40 Forge coin, whatever you want to do. We'll facilitate that. We'll make it happen. But yeah, just feel free to contact us, guys, and use what you got, or keep hoarding it like a bunch of snake hoarders out there. You guys are all hoarding snakes and Forge coin, but It's totally fine. Jamie's going to pop in the back, filter through comments and things out of the crowd. If you have questions specifically for Josh, something you want us to squeak in there and get from him, let us know. She's going to do her best to filter that out. So bear with us. We try to do that as best we can. Jamie, see you in a little bit.
Bye.
All right. Appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and just bring Josh out, guys.
There he
Josh.
is.
Hey, how is everybody?
Doing well,
Not too
doing
bad.
well.
Good.
And
What
you
you got
already
there?
have something in your hands. We couldn't start better than that.
All right.
Well, you mentioned earlier, you wanted to learn a little bit more about a black-tailed Crebo, so I thought I would bring out my breeder male.
Awesome.
Okay. Perfect. Let me swap to a different view because I want to get a good look at this thing, and I'm sure everyone else does too. So let me
Sure.
switch you out. It's going to look very similar. We're going to do this. And actually, I don't know where our background is, but you know what? Nothing's going to cooperate. There we go. Hey! Why everything reset, I don't know. But here we go. I'm going to take a better look at what you got there, Josh.
This is Dramarchon melanoris, also known as the black-tailed Crebo.
Okay.
Wow.
I've seen them. I've seen a ton of them, actually. I've never really understood where they're from, what kind of region. I know really nothing about these. Can you kind of give us the brief
They
overview
are
of?
part of the indigo family. So they're
Okay.
cousins to eastern indigos. Have Texas Crebos, or Texas indigos rather. So
Okay.
you've got different species of Crebos and indigos. These are endemic to South America.
Ah, okay. So same family, basically. This is just the South American version of what we might see here as an indigo.
Correct.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Diet. What kind of diet are these? I understand they do fish. They do all kinds of different prey. Is that right?
Basically anything they can overpower, they're going to eat.
Really?
So
Okay.
yeah, I feed mine tilapia, frozen thawed. I feed them. Very seldom do I feed them rodents. So I feed them a lot of chicks and a lot of fish. And they love snakes.
Wow.
Snakes are their
Really?
favorite meal.
Okay.
It's nice to find something that likes tilapia.
Oh yeah.
That
Little.
they've got a surprisingly thick neck. I mean, the neck looks thick, and then the tail's almost like a coach whip. It's really thin and long, right?
He actually, yeah, it's thin and long. Well, the tail part isn't that long. So the tail part is from here to there.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but this one's got a really good example of a blacktail.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. That thing is just a nice, smooth, gradual transition, but gets dark as all get out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
he's
the
very
dark
clean.
markings up by the head too. Are cool.
Yeah.
Stripes on the side there. Yeah.
Yeah, is that patterning the neck there? Is that typical, or is that kind of unique to him?
No, that's typical, but you're going to see variation in that.
Okay.
The eye stripes,
eye.
you'll see a little bit of variation. This
Yeah.
this particular guy is just, to me, got everything. So he's about as perfect as you can get, to me.
Yeah.
So
Well,
eyes are
and Blake
crazy.
says it too, like so docile. Are they mostly that way, or are they pretty wild in general?
he tried to murder me 3 times off camera.
Okay.
So
Well, let's not have that.
the thing about a Crebo, okay, so we probably have a lot of ball python people in the chat that may not know a lot about animals like this.
Right.
But when you're dealing with pythons, boas, things like that, they are ambush predators. So this snake is not an ambush predator. He finds the meal. He don't wait on
Enjoy
it to
that.
come from him. They're always active and always hunting.
So
Yeah.
I mean, that personality is definitely going to be different right out of the gate. When they're
Sure.
not afraid, they're not, they're super curious and they're actively hunting, like you say, that's going to lend itself to a little bit rambunctious. I mean, it's just going to be that way.
Sure.
But as far
But
as,
they're probably the most intelligent snake in the room, if not
Yeah.
one of the most intelligent species out there. So once they figure out it's not feeding time, this is typical.
Yeah. So are they
the
head
key
shy or?
is giving that snake time to figure out what's going on, because its first initial reaction when you open an enclosure, I'm getting fed.
Mhm.
sure.
So
Are they typically head shy? Is that one just used to handling, or are they just pretty?
oh no, I've got 3 of them up there, 3 additional ones that I could pull out that are the same way.
Okay. Yeah. Boy, that is
I don't
a
know if
handsome guy, man.
you can see this, but if you look up front on the front of their face, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a really large nostril.
Yeah.
Yes, yep. That's
Okay.
showing up.
Yeah, they have huge nostrils, so they can take in a lot of air. So
Yeah.
they're extremely active. They need that. So, and they're fast.
Oh, I
Do they
imagine.
mu-
It looks fast. I mean, it just looks it,
Do they
Go
musk?
ahead, Jay.
Do they bite?
No, do they musk at all?
Believe it or not, I'm worried about that right now.
Oh, okay.
It's never happened as far as musking. I'm actually worried about him doing worse than that, because he was just fed Sunday, and they have a very fast metabolism.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
food
takes
in,
him
food out.
3 to 4 days to digest a big meal.
Okay. So
Wow.
twice as fast as most of the pythons.
Oh yeah, or 3 times as fast.
Yeah.
So, basically I clean their enclosures twice a week,
Okay.
sometimes 3.
So when you're keeping, now you said some of this is kind of regional to us as far as the indigo side of it, but like what are
Sure.
the humidity and temp requirements like? Are they close enough that you don't have to be totally off base?
I have these in the same rack as I've got some boas.
Okay.
So, basically, with these, I keep a hot spot at about 86. Humidity, I've got a large humid hide box that they stay in with sphagnum moss. So they go in there to get additional humidity. So,
Gotcha. Okay.
and
And
I
do
keep
they
them on Santa chips. So they will get a mouthful of Santa chips when they're eating. Will not cause them any digestive issues. And if they don't like it, they will open their mouth, dunk their head in their water bowl, and shake their mouth out.
rinse it out? Yeah. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
wild creature right there, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, these aren't something that's been captively bred enough, I suppose, to really take on some of the derpy things we see with the captive ball python
Correct.
population.
Believe it or not, there's still imports of these that come in, and I can't figure out why. So
Yeah. So, is there, you say this is one of your bigger males, is there a pretty decent market on these, or is this something you're able to produce and resell, or is it pretty
yeah, I
tough?
sold 2 of these recently. Basically, I had 2 more than what I had that were missexed as babies. And so
Okay.
when those were missexed, I had to make adjustments. So when I figured that out, I was like, okay. I sold both of those a year and a half later, actually for more money than I paid for them. And they didn't last on the market for 60 days.
Oh,
Gotcha.
are they
So Blake's
rear?
asking. Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead, John.
No, I say
Rear
Blake's
fang or
asking.
constrictor? We'll both say it.
It's not actually rear fanged, and it's not a constrictor.
Oh,
Right, it's
okay.
neither. In the indigo family, it would be like a king snake or something, kind of.
Right.
I suppose.
They power through their meal. So they hit it fast, they hit it hard. They have extremely strong jaws. And
Yeah.
so they swallow it as it's alive.
Wow.
Okay. And I mean, they don't have issues, I suppose, with digestion. You're talking about fowl, you're talking about fish, a lot of bony, real
Right.
calcified stuff. They obviously have no issue digesting, right?
Yeah, I've never ran into an issue. The only time that I got really nervous was when I fed him a mackerel, and it was a whole scad mackerel. Well, their teeth are so sharp, and that mackerel is so tender.
Mm-hmm.
He shredded that fish, and bones were everywhere, and it did not stop him. And I was freaked out thinking a bone is going to puncture him somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you'd like that bone to be encased in something soft till it gets down.
Well,
right?
or
And you don't
at
want
least
them sticking.
going the right direction.
Yeah.
So, with that, I was a little bit freaked out, but it was nothing. I thought, that's it. I've just killed my snake. So,
Right.
but yeah, no, he was fine. I haven't done it since. I'm not tempting fate, so he sticks to tilapia.
Yeah, something that's going to hold together.
Oh, their teeth are so sharp, so sharp. So he just shredded it.
Yeah, that is a very, very cool snake. I mean, I hear that. I hear Crebo all the time because apparently it's relatively popular. But I've never looked into what it is. Like I say, we kind of got blinders on when we came in as ball pythons are going to be our thing. We're going to focus on that. We're going to get to a position where we can look at other species and take them on. So this is perfect for people looking for other avenues and things they can keep, right?
I want a ball python with those eye stripes, man. That'd be perfect. Those things are crazy.
That
it's
would
like
be
eyelashes.
Wild. So I like to say that, the ball pythons I absolutely love, but these are the ones that keep me young. They keep you on your toes.
Right? And I hate to say it this way, but it's almost like a stripper with mascara. She's getting off the stage crying there.
Yep.
Yep.
He's actually out there just thinking, what's to eat next?
Right.
That's all they think about.
So that is a very cool snake.
Yeah. So if anybody thinks that they're all of these things, there's not. They're not anything but what you see right here.
Yeah.
So you just have to know the difference of feeding mode. They are sight-driven predators. And when you realize you have them out of feeding mode, they're like this.
Yeah.
Right. So do you have a process for that? Do you have like a hook or tap training or something like that to kind of be able to clean and do your daily stuff with them? Or
yeah, I just go in and pray. No, I'm kidding. No, that's to warm up. Let's see what you got. So
right.
Let me test my reflexes. No, it's pretty simple. Like when I went to take him out before the show started, first thing he did was hit the top with his mouth open, anticipating a meal.
Yeah.
So I know that. I'm smart enough to keep my hands out of the way when I open the tub. So I slid it open, just cracked it, slid a hook in. He saw the hook. He knows he's not getting fed. He's still going to be active. But the biggest thing is you can't be reactive. Yeah. That's where people go wrong with colubrids they have a bad experience with. So if I was to react, this guy's sight driven. He's going to go after the movement because he hasn't taken time in his brain to figure out what's really going on. So you have to give him time to adjust.
So how many times did you go running through the house screaming before you figured that out?
None. You just give the snake time. I've got colubrids that'll come stand 4 foot out of the tub and look me in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just sit there and just look at them back. No, and then they'll just go back down when they realize you know, nothing's going on. Now, if I was to react, it would be different. I literally, I've got a snake that I'm going to make a video of this and I'll send it to you, John. I've got a
Okay.
snake that I probably could put a red laser down and he will chase it
I have
like a cat.
I have an offhanded story, even with a ball python on that. So the very first one I got, I put in a terrarium, good sized glass terrarium, and as soon as I'd go to thaw, as soon as I'd get her ready to eat, she knows the door. She knows where the food's coming in. The only way I could get in even remotely close, even with tongs and things, was that red laser dot. And she learned that if I shined that through the glass and I put it on the sidewall of her tank, she'd just slide over there and she'd sit and wait right by that dot. Then I could get the doors open. I could get the food. You know what I mean? But you couldn't even get the doors open on that thing. She'd have your hand, or it was just a nightmare. But it's funny you say that exact same thing, the laser dot, and I went,
I've had animals. I'm not saying that every Crebo is going to be like this, but every Crebo I've ever owned over the last 25 years, I've got like this.
Yeah. Have you taken a bite at all from them?
Oh yeah, it's never fun.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things to where, this goes for any snake bite or any snake. Okay, so the first thing anybody wants to do, natural reaction, when you get bit,
pull away,
is pull back. I mean, you do that because you're never expecting it. But if you learn to understand and train yourself to where you're always never expecting it, but you've always prepared yourself, a lot of times you just take that bite and they let go real quick when they realize what they've done, and that bite's not near as bad as the one where you just pulled back.
I was just going to ask that if it was that type of a difference between a food bite and just oops, I got the wrong prey here.
Yeah. This guy's at the size to where he's so strong, he could give me a little pinch to him, not just a hey, and I'm going to be laid open.
Yeah. Well, like you said, the teeth are no joke either.
Yeah, they're sharp.
Yeah.
But they are fantastic animals.
Yeah, that is very cool. And I did, before we even got in here, I'm like, I want to see a Crebo. I want to hear about them.
Yeah. There's the belly. And then you can see as it gets darker as you get down to the tail.
Yeah.
Really variegated coloring, though, more so than the sides.
Yeah. It's almost like a yellow belly.
Yeah. Very cool.
They're good animals. I love them.
When he gets back, we're getting some backstory on Josh. We started right into the animals, which is totally fine. But I want to know who the heck Josh is, where he's at, how he got into this. And he can hear me, so he can start right in when he sits.
Oh, I can hear you. Sorry, I'm going to clean up always. No matter what I'm doing in here, there's more than one species, so I disinfect myself in between handling animals.
Absolutely. Good practice.
So that's something that's super important to me. I'm a neat freak. I don't know. What do you want to know? Talk to me, John. Come on, Jason.
For those out there that don't know you, who's Josh? Where are you located, and how did Mantooth captive bred kind of become a thing?
Whew, that's y'all got all night?
Yes.
No, I'm kidding. My name's Josh Mantooth. I have been keeping reptiles and animals for going on 40 years. So my story's probably a lot like everybody else's. When I was younger and a kid, I thought all insects, bugs, animals were just the most fascinating thing to me. So when I say the most fascinating thing, I, as a young kid, I was just trying to figure all that out. Okay, well, that's not like me. that's an animal, that's this living being, that's this. But then it came to a snake. And I was just like, pardon my language, but I was like, holy shit, that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was instantly drawn to reptiles since I was probably 6 years old. So, when I was 7, I begged my mother to buy me Encyclopedia Britannicus so I could research snakes and reptiles. And I told her later that year I wanted to be a herpetologist.
Okay, let me have you pause a minute.
Sure.
Because I think you just lost half of the audience under 40. Encyclopedia Britannica.
Encyclopedia Britannica.
They have no idea what the F that is.
I came before Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Right? Which I completely get it. I know exactly what you mean, but I know a lot of people out there like, what? What is this a thing I can look snakes up in? What is it?
No,
Not
you
really.
used to be able to.
Not really.
Right.
Everything's online now. So,
Yeah.
So, I told her I wanted to be a herpetologist, and she said, "A what? A herpa what?" And so I had to break it down and explain it to my mother, and she's just looking at me like, "What is wrong with you? You're 7 years old."
Right.
So, I got the Encyclopedia Britannicus. I had to hear about it probably for 10 years because back then, that was 1984. And they cost $700 in 1984.
Yeah, they were not cheap. Not at all.
Just to give a little bit of context to everybody in the audience, that probably would cost you about 12 grand in today's money.
Right.
Or,
Right.
somewhere around in there. It'd be a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's something you saw literally in libraries or schools only. I mean, these weren't something that was on a person's bookshelf for the most part. I mean, that was an expensive purchase.
Yeah, so, when I got those, I read about any and every snake that I could find. Anything. Didn't matter what it was. I'll never forget one of the first books that I got about snakes. When you opened it up, and they went to the python section, there was a carpet python. And that carpet being there, by the way, that illustration doesn't look a damn thing like a carpet python. So I was disappointed when I saw the carpet python didn't match the illustration 10 years later.
Right? Like, this isn't a carpet. What the heck is this? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I grew up on a farm in northeast Alabama, in Stevenson, Alabama. And so when you grow up on a farm, you get a chance to catch all kinds of things. So if I wasn't in school, I was on the farm trying to find my next snake.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
the gamut of snakes in that area is pretty wide, too. I mean, Alabama's got a lot of variety for you to be out there goofing around with, including some stuff you shouldn't probably goof around with as a kid, right?
Yeah, there was, I caught plenty of those. I'll get to those in a minute. I didn't really run into a lot of snakes as far as species wide for the most part, because when you're talking about cattle land, you're mostly going to run into a green snake, a black racer, your eastern black rat snake, a corn snake, things like that is what you're going to see the most of.
Sure. Yeah, just the land and topography, like you said, cattle land kind of limits that a bit. You're not down around the swamps and the water and stuff like that.
Correct.
Gotcha.
There was a small river nearby that I would go down to in the evenings. And as the dusk would settle in, as the sun would go down, it'd get dusky dark. That's when all of the water snakes came off of the water to go nest or go to their dens or wherever they're going to sleep for the night. So I would literally lay still on this bank, and there would be water snakes crawling right by me as the sun went down.
Wow.
Just let them creep on by.
Yeah, just let them just to watch and study them.
Yeah.
Nice. So you go through all of this. Obviously, you've had a fascination with this from a very young age. At what point did you turn this into something like, and I know your side of it is business, ours is not. We consider it more lifestyle choice or hobby choice than.
Well, it depends on really how you define business. It kind of is and isn't, because I love what I do. So, and I love every single animal. So I don't look at things I do with my collection as a business expense, or or something that ties to that. I try to tie that more to what I want to specifically work with or what project I want to pursue. I don't look at it from a financial aspect. I probably should sometimes. There's a lot of money
Right.
always at stake, but
Yeah, right.
I don't always look at it that way. I look at it as
Yeah.
what I want to work with that's cool and what's fun. So up until 2019, I had been in and out of the hobby for however long that was from I was a kid. So we'll just say 25, 30 years. So
Right.
during that time, I had kept Mexican black king snakes. I kept those in the early 90s. Uh, I've kept black-tailed crebos. I've kept false water cobras. I have kept retics. Reticulated python is always going to be my favorite snake in the world. It
Okay.
always will be. Um, I have kept Colombian boas. I've kept, just your common boa, several rat snakes. What else have I kept? I haven't kept an anaconda, but I've kept a lot of animals over a long period of time. So I had a lot of experience, with a lot of different species.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, no, all good. You mentioned retic being your favorite, but what about that? And I realize the size, that they're intelligent. There's a different feel, but what is it about them that draws you so much?
When you actually have a retic that is well taken care of, a good example of the species, you've got a 20-foot snake that is every bit as athletic as that crebo in a 20-foot form.
Yeah.
Right.
It may not be as fast, may not be as quick. Things get telegraphed, as a snake gets bigger. Uh,
Sure.
but it can still climb up to the rafters,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
so that's impressive. A retic is just always thinking. You can always look at a retic and you can see that animal thinking.
Right. Okay. I get that a lot from people that keep, and I'm always curious like what other opinions are. And retics is one that always comes up as, hey, these things are amazing. It's
Yeah,
way outside of our
retics,
scope,
they know when you
but
walk in the room.
yeah. Yep.
They're always aware of what's going on around them.
Yeah.
So just from a size aspect and the area I work in and what I work with, it doesn't make any sense. So, unfortunately, I don't work with them at this point. I may later, but not
Uh-huh.
right now.
Okay.
What
Gotcha.
about the false water cobras? What are those like?
False water cobras are very fast, very intelligent, and they are also very food driven. They are just like the crebos. They actually
Hmm.
may be a little more food driven than the crebo,
Okay.
but they
Gotcha.
figure it out real quick.
How big do they get?
False water cobra is going to get 8 feet for a
Okay.
female,
Wow.
Pretty decent
and
size.
at
Okay.
Yeah.
8 foot long, the female, so a big, large female, can weigh 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Yep. Very similar build though to the Crebo. I mean, as far as overall length and size, no.
Nah, it's a totally different build. If I had a 7 foot false water cobra, it would be as big around as my wrist.
Oh, much heavier bodied than that.
Very,
Oh,
very
okay.
heavy bodied animal.
Oh, okay. I always pictured them as very slender.
No, they're not a slender animal.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, and that was a question out of the audience. Blake was asking, are they more chill than the Crebo or overall handling, I think is what he's
They
getting
chill
at.
down a lot quicker than the Crebo. I don't use. I've never used a hook, with false water cobras.
Okay.
Oh,
So
Gotcha.
you just got to pay attention to the movement. You
Yeah.
just got that snake has to know, it's not feeding time.
right.
They're like I said, same thing as a Crebo. They're reactive.
Gotcha. So, Mantooth captive bred, you start this up. You're saying this is 2019-ish, right?
Well, believe it or not, 2019, I had to get rid of a couple of 2 pairs of yellowtail Crebos and 2 pair of blacktail Crebos because I changed states and didn't know where I was going to be traveling to with my career at that time. So I thought it was best to let go of those animals. And one of those spurts where I was out of the hobby, and then something happened, the ad come across Instagram or something, and there's this this white M that looks like a snake. And I said, "Oh shit, what's Morphmarket?"
Right.
Yep.
That was the worst day of my life. No, I'm kidding.
There went all my money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just take my wallet. Yep.
So
So
I
that-
got a question.
Go ahead, Jay.
I got a quick question just about the name. So you can't come on the show with a name like Mantooth and think I'm not going to check this out. I'm like, what's the origin, right? So Scottish?
Very close. If you look at it, you're going to come up with Mantooth. I think that came from over in Scotland. It's actually an adopted last name. So.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. It's not my biological last name, so I got that later in life.
So have you met any
Gotcha.
of that family? I mean, anybody from Scotland?
That was their farm I grew up on.
Okay. But have you met anybody from Scotland? Any of the family that's... Oh, okay.
I
have
love
to
Johnny
ask that
Walker
one.
Black Label, so I think you can trace me back there.
I was just going to say, man, Scotch is my favorite, so I got to ask a few questions about that. But,
there you go.
yeah.
Right, and I hear a name like that, and I immediately go straight to Viking and things like that, where
Right.
it's
Yeah.
for whatever reason
people,
it draws me.
People think
that
American
way.
Indian, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Definitely different. And at first, I did not realize. I mean, this is obviously a while back when I first saw Mantooth captive bred. I assumed it was something you grabbed onto and you I didn't have any clue that was your last name involved in there. Do you know what I mean?
That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was just an assumption. I saw the little raptor logo and I'm looking, okay,
Yeah.
that's kind of a different name. I wonder where he came up well. Now it makes sense, right? But yeah, definitely different.
Yeah.
So, Morphmarket drags you in like it drags in everybody. And is this where the ball python craze started with you? Because you have a heck of a collection in balls as well.
It did, because it was when you go in and out of the hobby for as many years as I did, I didn't go online looking for snakes, all the time. If I did, I went to kingsnake.com because that's all I knew.
Right.
So I'd bought some things on there and I found some good reputable breeders, back in the day. And then I was able to build relationships. So whenever I was looking for something, I could hit one of those breeders up. And if they didn't have it, they could point me in the right direction. So I didn't do a whole lot of internet searches.
So when you say you were in and out of the hobby, so your current collection, the ball python side, when did you actually start to build that?
22, in the middle of COVID.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you've got a really nice collection. I was curious as to how long you worked on that. That's actually pretty fast. 22 is not long.
Yeah, it's luckily I made some good decisions and I made some bad decisions. like everybody does with genetics.
Oh,
But my overall decisions weren't that bad. The good decisions outweighed the bad.
yeah.
So, anybody, when you get into genetics and things like this, you think this will be cool, this will look good, and then you realize later, okay, I should have probably bought this and not this. So everybody has to iron the kinks out. So I'm pretty much through that part. So I'm pretty set in with what I've got right now.
Yeah. We've even done
Okay.
where we purchased something with a plan, and
Yep.
then a year into it, we purchased 3 other things that make it obsolete. And we're like, why did we buy that? Now we have, now we're a step past it with these 3 or 4 that we've added over this past year while we were waiting for this thing to get to breeding size. So we've done
Yeah.
that a few times, and I think everybody kind of does that one too. As long as
I
you're
will.
buying stuff.
I'll show you the first snake I bought off of Morphmarket in 2022. That was a ball python. Because
Okay.
before 2022, the last 2 experiences I had with ball python was I had one in '93. That was an import. I didn't know it at the time because I'd never had one. I just thought, let me try one, because I'd always had retics.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, let me try a ball python. I couldn't get the damn thing to eat to save my life.
Oh no.
I was done with ball python.
Right.
One and done. I'm like, this is the worst decision ever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm tired of messing with this snake. Now you got to keep in mind everything I've kept up until that point. Instant feeder.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. So when I run
That's
into the
funny.
feeding issues, I'm like, all right, this is not the snake for me. So I rehomed it to a close friend of mine who spent another 6 or 8 months with that snake and finally got it to start eating.
Yep. Some of them can be pretty stubborn, for sure. You just got a stubborn one right off the bat.
And she got to about probably 4,000 grams before she passed away. He had her forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a good outcome for the animal. And the only other time that I really saw ball pythons was I went to Rico Walder's house to pick up a couple of green tree pythons I bought from him. And as I'm there, he's got some piebald ball pythons. So he's got some pods. And I said, oh shit, those are $20,000 snakes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing.
And I didn't think anything else about it, because it was an albino and a pod. They were huge money, but it still didn't interest me because of the headaches I'd had prior.
Yeah.
And then 22, I get on Morphmarket, start looking at ball pythons, genetics, and I've always been a fan of Exanthic, and this is the first ball python I bought in 2022.
All right.
And she's glowing right now.
Oh, nice.
Oh, beauty.
Actual MJ pied, huh?
Yeah, that's a yellow, and the camera does not do her justice. That's a yellow belly MJ pod that's het clown.
Wow. That's a hell of a
believe
first
it or not,
entry.
I've had this in my collection
Right.
since 2022. She'll be 5 years old this year, and she's never given a clutch till this year.
Wow.
Oh, congrats, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hell of a first purchase, though.
Yeah, that's diving right out of the gate.
Yeah, she was the price of a cheap Honda Civic.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, just the MJ stuff, period. But boy, right there is a perfect example of why that MJ stands out. I mean, that is gorgeous for that size, And you can see...
She looks the same now as she did when she was 900 grams.
Right.
She's identical.
And you can see the best lines, or the best version of the other lines, I should say, like the VPI, the TSK stuff. And they can get close, but they're never that. Do you know what I mean?
They do a really good job at holding color. I mean, they really do.
Fantastic. That's a great animal.
Nah.
So, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say that was your starter in. So is that a big base of your projects now? Is the MJ stuff or?
It's a lot of it. I took a year off of MJ last year from producing any visuals, and I'm not going to produce. I actually produced a couple of visuals last year, or probably three, or year before. Last year I didn't produce any visuals. This year I won't produce any visuals because I'm working off of my hets and what I'm creating. So I've got long-term projects with that, and I'm not in any rush on those, and I can't
Gotcha.
be.
Right. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean it's a patience game. And you want your stacks, right? You want to bring things into that. So you want to stack stuff up and bring it in a meaningful way. You don't want to just keep producing MJ blanks, you're right,
correct.
Yeah,
You
I
know, and the other thing
totally get
is
that, though.
MJ's underutilized.
Yeah.
It is.
It's
100%.
very underutilized.
Yep. Agree. Go ahead, Jay. You had something there.
No, I was just going to say I totally agree. That's the hard thing I always have. It was just the other day we were on the 15 minutes, and the question always comes up about projects, and I'm like, man, this stuff's so far off, and really, I'm still creating building blocks, and so it doesn't really feel like you're in projects, even though you've got the ideas. You're making these building blocks. I'm not going to go out and purchase a bunch of stuff. I mean, if the price
Right.
is right and something comes along, right?
Hmm.
It's so far off from it, and building codoms and stacking those into some recessives to get them into a few projects that we have. But it's always a tough question, at least for me. I don't know for John, but it is for me all the time, every time.
Yeah, I
When
think
it comes to what projects?
Projects, yeah, because it's not. I just don't think of it that way. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
try to
you
think
have
on my projects 2 or 3 steps ahead. Okay, so just to give
right,
you an idea, I've got that Xanthic yellow belly pod. She's hat clown. Okay, so I put a desert ghost clown head hypo. I will keep anything that's head hypo from that
mhm.
clutch. And everything, they're all going to be at least triple, quad, actually a quint head.
right,
So they're not going to be a lot to look at besides, clown, but they're going to be head Xanthic, head pod, you
yeah,
know, possibly head hypo, head desert ghost. But not only do I have that female, I've got 2 more. So that I'm putting different males with that can work that project so I can decrease my timeline to get to where I
hmm
want to go by holding back the select animals. It's still going to take probably 6 or 7 years,
yeah,
but it could
exactly,
take a lot longer.
yeah,
Yeah, it
yep,
could be 10,
exactly.
12,
Yeah, if you
and
don't
Yep,
hit those, and now you're going on to the next year, it only takes a couple of years of missing some key stuff,
yep.
and now, yeah, exactly, you're into the 10-year plan. So,
But if you stack it right and you utilize the right females and males and reverse up some of those combos, then
yeah,
you can get to the end result quicker.
yep,
absolutely, yep. And the other thing we saw a huge trend of, at least a year or two ago, was this huge rush to the triples and quads
right,
with nothing in it. Like you got a
Yeah,
quad animal and there's no codoms in this thing.
right,
If you're going to add anything now, you got to go back 3
yeah,
years
but you
and
got to think it's a lot simpler sometimes, or a lot cleaner. In my mind, if you're going to work the quad project, try to get as close to that quad as you can before you start adding all the incomplete dominants. So at least you've got a good solid base, and then you can bring those in.
if you have the visual quad, yes.
Yeah,
The tough part is when you
right.
have that one visual triple hat or that
yep,
double visual
Yeah, you
double
got
hat.
no way
Now
to
you're
get
mixing
those.
stuff with 50% odds and you still
Right,
don't have your codoms in there. Do you see what I mean?
yep.
And it's like,
Mhm.
I agree. If you get the visual quad, then you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
That's a long road to just that. I'd rather be adding that stuff in as I'm hitting those doubles and triples to where it's a 3-gene triple. Do you know what I mean? It's just a difficult thing. It's a time sink, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So you've got MJ is one of your projects. What would you say is another strong one for you, or like a second chair?
Let's see.
Goes and gets one. I like it. Swap scenes.
Yeah, I like it when
That's fine.
Just grab. Here's example A.
That is a Hypo Desert Ghost clown. I mean, a Hypo Stranger clown. That's Het Desert Ghost.
Well, that is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I produced 2 of these last year.
Nice.
I mean, you see a lot of Stranger clown stuff, but nothing in Hypo, man. That's a huge step up.
Yeah.
Wow, is that thing nice?
And it's Het Desert Ghost. So.
Yeah.
And I've got another clutch of these that'll be coming this year. Those will be released to the public.
Very nice.
I was going to say, yeah, you didn't sell anything out of that first one, I'm sure.
No.
That is gorgeous, man. Wow.
Yeah, that's
how
a nice
is that Hypo? And a fantastic line of Hypo besides. Where did that come out of? Whose stock was that Hypo in?
The original animal, the female that I raised up, came from Kyle Hoffman at Royal Ambassador.
Sure.
So in February of 23, I asked Kyle, did he really want to sell a Stranger? He had a Hypo Stranger clown female that was 900 grams. And he said, sure. He said, I'll sell her. And he put an offer out there that I didn't really want to turn down. And it was a ton of money. And I knew it wouldn't get anything back immediately. But I went ahead and made the purchase. And so as soon as I did that, I thought, well, all right, I've got a plan for this animal. So my original plan was to put my black pastel red stripe yellow belly clown that was 50% Het Hypo to her, because I wanted to see the black pastel red stripe yellow belly Hypo Stranger clown. That's what I wanted to see. So I sent a shed test off for the Hypo. I actually ran a full panel just to make sure all the genes were there. RGI comes back with my black pastel red stripe yellow belly clown was Het albino.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, what? So I'm like, okay, what the hell do I do now?
Yeah.
So about 6 months later, I sent another shed in under a different snake ID just to test for albino, and came back heterozygous albino. I said, well, shit, it's not a mistake.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So hold on, it gets better.
So the albino really wouldn't hurt you so much in the first pairing, though.
No, I don't know if let's do this. So I went and bought an albino spot nose clown.
There you go.
She's about to lay eggs in about 45 days. Or no, she's about to lay eggs this month, actually. Sorry.
That was a really pretty girl.
Yep, she's had her pre-lay. So she will be laying eggs. So hopefully I may be able to hit an albino Pompeii.
There you go.
When the world gives you lemons, right?
you got to figure it out. So I need to utilize that gene somehow. So I felt like that would be the best way to utilize it. And so I bought a Desert Ghost Inchy clown, Het Hypo, for the Stranger Hypo clown.
Sure.
So the hypo or the het hypo, was that just another avenue for you? Because it really wouldn't matter in the first pairing, right? I mean, that would just kind of drop off if you didn't use it.
Right. But it mattered to me because I love hypo. I love what hypo does. So
Oh, it didn't have hypo.
no,
No, it had
Oh,
it was het
okay.
albino.
yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense. I'm like, well,
there was
the
hypo
albino
in the
wouldn't
pairing,
matter. Gotcha.
and evidently after talking to the breeder, I found out there was albino in the lineage, but he didn't think it was in his animals. I said it's there.
Wow.
So
Yep. That makes way more sense. You were hoping for het hypo, it got het albino.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I lost that in translation somewhere. I'm thinking, well, the bonus gene doesn't matter. Like,
I could not figure out what you were saying. Why the albino was okay? I'm like,
yeah,
The albino wasn't okay. I was thinking to myself, okay, what do I do to this animal now? So I bought an albino spot nose clown.
right.
yeah. There you go. Make lemonade, like Jay said. But
Yeah.
so, any other surprises over your time, albeit with ball pythons only since 22? Have you hatched things that were just a shock to you? Something that just popped out and you went, how the hell? Or why is this in there?
I had pastel pop out in the clutch from an animal that was black-eyed Lucy. And I was like, okay, this is a shocker 'cause I didn't know this. But, it is what it is.
Right. And
You know, when
again,
you got a solid white animal, you can't see pastel.
No.
oh yeah, I can't see anything in there. That's the huge fear is like, what can you count on without that panel test? What
But
the
it made
heck is
some
in
really
there?
pretty animals.
Yeah. Combo on that?
Yeah, I made some exanthic pods out of it, and I also made some pastel pods that were head exanthic. So
Nice.
I actually hit a really good clutch with that.
Nice.
Did you do anything with the red stripe and hypo? I know you said you had that in the combo.
I have not yet.
Okay.
I've not done anything with red stripe and hypo.
Okay.
So I will, but I haven't yet.
Yeah, red stripe hypo's got to be nice almost in any combo. So I'd be curious to see those too.
You know, I'm a big Orange Dream fan, so I've got a lot. I've got some Orange Dream hypo stuff. And some
Nice.
clown hypo stuff.
Yep.
So numbers. We talked a little before the show where you're sitting on stuff. Can you talk us through like how your growth progression went from this 22 start to where you are now in clutch expectation?
Yeah, and this year's going to test me. It's going to be fun. But in 2023, I produced 3 clutches. And then 2024, I produced 6 clutches. And right now, I'm going to do somewhere between 16 and 22.
Okay. So really nice progression as far as that goes. You're not sitting stagnant, but you're also not getting wild with things. I mean, you're...
Yeah, I just wanted to hit the 20 clutch mark or get close to it just to see how my time management was and see how, I handle that. And I think that's probably where I'll stay and try to hover between that 15 and 20 clutch mark. Because, working full time and everything, else, it gets to be a lot.
Do you do it all by yourself?
I do.
Yeah, I'm gonna bet on this. You hit the 20 some clutch mark, and you're like, I think 15 is the magic.
And you may be right, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So,
You may do fine with it. I know it gets to be a lot for us. What was last year's numbers? High teens, right?
18, I think we hit last year, yeah. It's a lot of animals,
busy. Yeah.
oh yeah, it's a lot of animals.
Yeah.
But
Here's some of the
luckily,
stories.
with ball pythons, they're really simple and easy to take care of, as hatchlings for the most part.
Yeah, that's true.
And they're such good eaters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not like they were 20 years ago. I promise you, they're a lot better than what they were then.
Right.
No,
We've had good
we do
years
have.
and bad years, and I pray that you have good year, especially if you're going to do the 20. If everybody's eating pretty good, that makes it so much easier. But man, when we hit the 18, it seemed like half of them were, had at least several snakes in the clutch of half that just wanted to be problems and trying to get them to eat, and then you're assist feeding, and it's just, man, that really starts to drag on you. So
yeah, just hope to, you're going to have issues, you're going to have that, so you just got to figure out how to do it, handle it, and move past it.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
So looking forward, before we throw you in the hot seat with Jamie, because we're right about that time frame, vending on the horizon, are you going to be an attendee, or do you have plans for vending?
I have plans for vending. I'm going to do anything that I can to eventually get to Southeast Reptile Expo to vend, because that venue's 3 hours for me, 3.5 hours.
Oh, nice.
And with that venue, I can do it twice a year. It makes it simple. It's a great show, and I love going there every year.
Nice. Okay.
Yep.
So that one in particular, and you're going to just say, hey, this is my spot. This is my routine. That's awesome to have that close, honestly. That is great.
And it's a great show. It's a busy show. So it's fun.
Yeah. Badass. Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed. I know we had talked a little bit, and there's like a waiting list building up, and it's going to be dependent on who's bringing what to some degree.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, fingers crossed for you on that. Hopefully something opens up and you're able to pop in there.
Yep, it would be fun.
But Josh, you know the routine. We can only stall so long before you have to go in the hot seat. So.
Oh, she's chomping at the bit. She's got a book back there.
Yeah. So it is that time, guys. Hot seat time. Josh, good luck, sir. I'm sure you're going to do just fine, but Jamie is going to step up her game. I do hear that coming down the pipe. So.
I've already got all my answers ready. I love Marshawn Lynch. I'm only here so I won't get fined.
Nice.
Right. Perfect. Here we go, guys. Hot seat.
It's time to play the game. It's time to play the game. Let's go.
Oh, into the hot seat, Josh.
What's going on?
I've been waiting. I did step it up a little bit, not too hard, just to start off with, and I kept a couple the same just because they're my favorites. But we'll start with Sunday game day or Saturday hike with a family.
Probably Sunday game day.
If you didn't have to sleep, what would you do with the extra time?
I would probably take time to dissect the entire collection and expand.
Yeah.
I would do that. I would stay in here 24/7.
It'd be so hot.
No, this is what I love to do. So
yeah, for sure. Baseball stadium hot dog or home grilled tailgate burger.
Oh, home grilled burger.
Yep, we had those tonight for dinner. They're delicious. What's one vice you wish you could give up?
Copenhagen.
Yeah, addicted.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Have you been doing it your whole life?
Oh, pretty much.
Yeah. If you could swap lives with anybody for one day, who would it be?
Steve Irwin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Absolutely.
your guilty pleasure TV show or movie?
Oh, my guilty pleasure TV show or movie? Does it have to be a TV show?
Not just something your guilty pleasure.
Watching old Jerry Springer or Maury Povich show clips on TikTok.
Who's your dad? That's funny.
My wife thinks she laughs. She goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe you." I said, "Listen to this."
Drama.
Yeah.
Would you rather be respected or liked?
Respected.
Yep. What's your go-to song when you need a confidence boost?
Hmm. Probably MGK and Kid Rock.
Yeah,
Bad
I love
MFer.
Awesome. That's funny. What's one belief you've changed your mind about in the past 5 years?
One belief I've changed my mind about in the past 5 years. Probably that snakes really are for everybody.
You think?
Yeah, I used to think snakes really weren't for everybody, but actually I think they are. And I think the industry is closer to explaining that. The better off that we present ourselves, or the better we present ourselves as professionals, we can do a better job of convincing people of that. You
That's
got to
true.
think not everybody can have a dog or a cat in
Right?
their apartment, and that person may be scared to death to keep a snake. But
Yeah.
if you can educate that and educate that person, present it in a positive light, give them a good experience,
Yeah.
then you just change somebody's life that might have been dead set against it. So that's
Absolutely.
one belief that's changed for me.
That's a great answer. If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why? It's a fun.
Losing weight on demand, so that way I can just eat what I want.
Yes, I need that superpower. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. City life or countryside?
Countryside.
Have you ever lived in the city?
Oh, I love the city.
Yeah.
I've lived in all kinds of big cities. I've lived in Nashville. I've lived in Tampa.
Okay.
Um, I've lived in Little Rock, Arkansas. Well, that's a small city, but
Right.
I've lived in a larger cities, and it's good when you're young.
Yeah.
But I'm 48, so shit. Come 9 o'clock, I'm going home anyway.
Right.
So
I hear that. Work hard or work smart?
smart.
Yep. Stand up comedy or improv?
Stand-up comedy. I love Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer.
Uh huh. John and I will sit and binge watch stand up comedy and just crack up. It's awesome.
Hmm.
Talking about binge watching, are you going to binge watch or watch one episode a week?
I'll usually binge watch.
Yeah.
When I get into a show, I'll just zone out. Let me
Yep.
just disconnect from the world. I'm gonna knock out 3 episodes. That turns into five, and I'm like, all right, let me take a break.
Absolutely. That was too funny. Presidents or philosophers?
Ooh, that's a ooh. Probably philosophers.
Hmm. I agree.
Sometimes I think they put way more thought into things.
Yeah, I think more times than not. If you could hang out with any cartoon character, who would you pick?
Any cartoon character. That's a good one. Probably Tom off of Tom and Jerry,
Okay. I don't think we've had anyone say that.
or
Good pick.
maybe Foghorn Leghorn.
Yep.
I say, boy.
Yes. I love that. Oh, what one word do you want people to associate with you?
Hmm. No. If I'd want everybody to associate me with just one particular word, It probably would be honorable.
Yeah, that's
I
fantastic.
mean, I don't know if that really is a good answer that answers that question, but it's what I think of when that,
Yeah,
about always doing the right thing and being
yeah,
honest with people.
yeah. That's the kind of answer I was looking for. It's perfect.
hmm
What's your main focus for 2025?
The main focus for 2025 is balancing time between career and animals
Yeah.
and family.
Uh-huh.
We put a lot of time in this, and I'm sure you and John also.
Yeah.
It can put a little strain on things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Not every
tough.
day's perfect,
Yep.
but you got to make sure to pay attention where you need to pay attention. You
Mhm.
got to be self-aware.
Yeah.
What's going on. So if
Yeah.
I had to pick one goal for 2025, it's going to be able to manage time appropriately.
Yep. Time management. Good answer. Who would you shout out as your top 3 mentors?
The top mentor is probably going to be, you talking about snakes or just life?
However you want to answer. I was thinking in the business, but you can.
Okay. In the business, he's not really into ball pythons anymore. He got out. He got out in 2023, I believe. Was
Okay.
David West at
Okay.
Exiled Reptiles. So you can imagine, you buy a $5,000 snake,
Hmm.
you have an issue with it. It's 900 grams. It won't feed. That Xanthic yellow belly pied het clown female, he didn't know it was het clown when I bought it. Uh, so I got a surprise there. The snake went off feed for about 8 months. And David West at the Exiled Reptiles was absolutely phenomenal to work with. So in
Hmm.
the business, it would be David. He's the nicest guy anybody will ever meet. It would be the next person would be Kyle Hoffman,
Mm.
Royal Ambassador.
Yep.
Kyle, he can offend people. Kyle is Kyle. So I absolutely love Kyle because he's a wealth of knowledge.
Yes.
Uh, and Kyle's just going to tell you how it is. And not
Yeah.
everybody can handle that. I
True.
speak that language, so I click with him.
You're right.
Uh, the other person probably would be, I'm really close with Justin Thomas at Armless Angels.
Okay.
He lives 15 minutes from me.
Nice. Nice.
So,
Very
yeah,
good.
that would be 3 people I would pick.
Yeah. Good deal. I've heard of Armless Angels. I don't know them. And I don't know David West. But have
I
to look
think
them up.
David still does some Black Dragons.
Okay. Cool. Last question in the hot seat. If you could go back in time and talk to little Josh, what would you tell him?
Hmm. Be patient.
Yeah.
That's
All
it.
around. Yep.
Yeah.
Very good. You survived in the hot seat. See, it wasn't so hard. Yeah.
That wasn't bad at all.
No, not bad at all.
I've been over here sweating bullets.
You are in a fire. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for everybody that tuned in tonight. Please like, share, follow, and subscribe.
I appreciate you all having me, and I appreciate everybody that showed up tonight. So thank you for that support. For anybody that really wants to find me, you can find me on Instagram, usually at Mantooth Captive Bred Reptiles and Mantooth Captive Bred Reptiles on Morphmarket.
Okay. Perfect.
Heck yeah. You survived, man. We aren't done with you
Yep.
yet. You are far from done, sir. We've got a ton of
Oh
questions
man.
for you. But you did well
Man,
with
we were
Jamie. And
we were
Go ahead,
talking
Jay.
his ear off behind the scenes. I don't know if anybody in the chat could tell there, but it had to be distracting for poor Josh. John and I are back there.
I
Rah,
didn't.
rah, rah.
I can't really see it the way that I've got it set up, so I don't know
Okay.
what really is going on in the chat.
Yeah. But you did well, man. Perfect answers. I know some of those you're like, well, I don't know if that really applies here, but yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
Honorable.
that's the whole thing.
Yeah, honorable's perfect. And I love the fact that you shouted out Kyle, dude, because Kyle, he's in our area, number one. He's only about 2.5 hours from us. The guy is, he's a piece of work, man. I love Kyle. I think he's hilarious.
Kyle is hilarious. He is something else.
He is, absolutely.
He can get on a tear, so I know when to stop listening.
Oh, yes. Yeah, just like a dog with a bone. Once he gets a hold of it, you're good luck getting it back. But doesn't mean he's wrong. Just maybe a little overboard sometimes. Yeah. No, Kyle's awesome. So, yeah, that's a great group, a great set of answers, and nothing I wouldn't have expected out of you. Although I was kind of thinking you might be a baseball guy for whatever reason. I thought that stadium. Dog
I've always been a football guy.
Okay.
I played
Can't
baseball.
fault you for that. Yeah,
But I've always been a football guy.
I was the same way. I liked playing baseball, but football's, if I'm going to watch something, that's football for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I can't sit through an MLB game. I know people love it.
No.
I love to play it. I'll play any day. I do not want to watch it. I'm just not interested. But, yeah, perfect. So I think before we went to that, we were just kind of covering up the last little bits of your collection. But do you want to talk a little bit about where you're going with some of the other species you're keeping? Like what are your plans with the groups of like Crebo? You talked about having some boa, some other stuff you might be working in the near future people can look for?
Yeah, I've got a group of Peruvian red-tailed boas. I've actually got one for sale. And I might sell the rest. The Peruvians are they're a labor of love. They're a snake that I love, but sometimes the snakes that you love may not make sense in the long run. So,
sure.
I'm going to trim down those, and then I'm going to go heavier with Crebos. So I want to add some Xanthic Crebos. And I want to add some Yucatan. And I want to see if I can do that before the end of the year. So if I can do that with the right animals, I'll get 2 clutches of blacktails next year. And then the year after that, and then about the 4th year after that, I'll be to produce the Xanthics and Yucatans, depending on the age of the animals I can pick up. So I've got some Trans-Pecos rat snakes we talked about earlier. Those will take about 4 years to develop. And I've only got 1 pair of those. So, yeah, those will be 4 years out, but I'm just planning on keeping 1 pair of those because they're just super cool. So it'll be fun to have those.
Nice. And is there anything outside of your scope now that you've thought about bringing in and working with, or are you pretty comfy and set with?
I'm going to bring in the next time a captive bred female greater keeled rat snake becomes available, I'm going to buy it.
Okay.
So, greater keeled rat snakes are another, South American species, but they get up to 13 feet long. They're the largest colubrid out there.
That is shockingly large.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the cap on colubrid was somewhere around 9 feet. You're saying something's...
the greater keeled rat snake gets to 13 feet.
Wow, that is a big colubrid. So In those, do you do, and I know not all colubrids require it, and they're actually finding more and more that you don't need to do it at all, but do you brumate when you're going to pair these things up, or how do you personally do it?
I brumate. So,
Okay.
with certain colubrids, you can double clutch. But I don't ever really plan on double clutching any females for the simple fact I think it's too much stress. So, but with brumating, I just put them in the wheel banks behind me. That's the reason I have that. I've got containers I can fit them in. I can stack them in there. I brumate them during the winter when I don't have a clutch to incubate. And then when I don't have a ball python clutch, I just take those down to about 62 to 65 degrees for 2 to 3 months, and I'll do it in steps, and then I'll bring them out and just get them warmed up and start feeding them, and it's off to the races.
Nice. Okay, that was going to be my next question. It was like, what do you set that thing to comfortably for these to just chill for those couple months? That's low. I didn't expect it.
As adults, you can, and nobody really takes them this low. You can. I'm not going to do it next year. I've done it the past 2 years, but the past 2 years I've took my Crebos all the way down to 59.
Wow. Okay.
But I'm not going to do that. That's actually like a super, super cold, deep hibernation for that animal. Brumation, rather. They're still alert. They still move. But I'm not going to take them that cold in the future.
Okay.
I don't have to.
Yeah.
Sure. So the rat snakes, and that's it. You're not going to move into anything in the lizards or monitors, nothing in geckos. You're not going to do hognose, none of these other things that are getting popular.
Well, I've thought about hognose, but if I do hognose, I'm going to do an eastern hognose. Those aren't utilized or presented enough in the industry. And the easterns they can be a pain in the ass to get started, feeding and everything else. But if I was to add another one on top of that, it probably would be the eastern hognose.
Okay. Now, are the easterns slightly larger in the end?
Yes, they get larger than the western.
Okay, that was my thought process, but I wasn't sure if I had that backwards or okay.
Yeah.
But not as much range and as genetic side. You don't see as much variation in the eastern, right?
You can get some extreme red animals. There's one guy that has line bred them to where he has some flame Cheeto red eastern hognose snakes.
Wow.
Well, that's cool. You don't get to see that in a lot of other species either. Red's not that common.
Mm-mm.
So that would be kind of interesting to mix that in.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous.
Species, regions, is that going to be an issue on the easterns? I know a lot of things can't be kept in certain areas if they're indigenous
I'll have to
or
research
not.
that. I have not researched at this point because I haven't really wanted to go forward and make a purchase right now. But when I get ready, I will do that.
Yeah, I think the westerns are like more widely accepted around the country. I didn't know on the easterns if that's kind of more limited or you only have X group you can sell to. You know what I mean? Like if it's a chunked up market or what. But interesting though. I'm going to look into that too. Hognose is something we looked at. Of course, westerns is what we've seen in the market. But an issue here is always space. And until we get this damn building done, we don't look to expand. We're curious, and we make paper plans, but nothing that's ever going to come in this direction until we get set up. So, yeah, just curious where that's headed for you. But who do you need to shout out? I know you had a chance on Jamie's hot seat. We're going to give you one more round. All the different groups that have been really well accepted for you and brought you in the way you wanted to be represented, all of that this is your moment to kind of call those people out and say, hey, thank you and appreciate it,
Yeah, actually, I'd like to give a shout out first to you all for having me. I've been honored to be here. I told you that since day one.
I
And
appreciate that.
the other thing, I really want to give a shout out to pretty much is everybody. Because to me, if you've taken time out of your day to watch No Remorph or any other animal podcast, and there's a lot, then
Yep.
I want to actually give a shout out to you for doing that because that's what the industry needs more than anything. So it's just everybody contributing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
100%, man.
and everybody, for the most part, does that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has that surprised you? Coming from such a long history and knowing the ins and outs years ago, has it surprised you what it's turned
Oh,
into?
absolutely. It was mind blowing to me. I see people just now getting in the industry now. People just getting into it, and I remember thinking back, man, I was just like that. I didn't know this, I didn't know that. When it comes to keeping
Yeah.
snakes or animals, you got to learn that. So back during my day, when you bought an animal 25 years ago, you got handed a snake. It's in a bag.
Good
Might
luck.
come Delta Dash.
Yeah.
You got to go to the
Yeah.
airport and pick it up. And the airport would love when I'd pull an 8-foot retic out of a bag. And it's not happy because it's flown from Bob Clark to me.
Right.
And then that's the experience they get at Delta Dash when they see an 8-foot angry retic. And back then you couldn't get any information. So I've watched everything change drastically, and it was eye opening for me because I didn't really know a lot of this existed until 2021, maybe 2020,
Yeah.
and seeing that and knowing what people have access to now to what I had access to 25 years ago. All you newcomers in the business, or in the industry and keeping snakes, you've got it made.
Yeah, exactly.
You just got to latch on to the right person.
Yep.
Right.
They always
100%.
talk about this is a bad time to get into this because of, what's happened with the market and the price drops. But in reality, as a new person wanting to get, this is
It's
perfect
the
time.
best time.
Yeah, absolute perfect time. So anybody out there watching YouTube falls asleep, wake up 4 hours later, and it happens to be no remorph, and you're catching this, get into the snakes. It's a perfect time.
Yep. It is
It is,
perfect
for
time.
sure.
Yeah, you couldn't have hit it more ideal than now, and we hit it on the opposite. We couldn't have come in at a worse time, in my opinion, as far as market and situation, like on the front end just before COVID. As the market's climbing, everything you're doing is at cap. And to see that go back to reality, had you been in prior and you knew that scale and that roller coaster, completely different game, right? Coming in right now with
absolutely.
all the information,
only benefit-
all the market.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
The only benefit we had was that you had this community at that time still. I mean, it wasn't quite what it is, but it's pretty close, and it's pretty welcoming, people willing to share information and help you out, which 10 years prior to that or 20 years prior to that, you're totally on your own. So, I mean, that was
you were on your own. You were told figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. Go get your Britannica out.
Yeah, that's right. Luckily, I did enough research. That's all I did as a kid was just I packed my brain with books and just any kind of knowledge I could figure out. What's the best way to catch this black rat snake? How can I catch this southern copperhead or eastern copperhead? And not get bit. What's the chance that this timber rattlesnake is going to be super angry?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Pretty good
Chances
odds.
are good.
No,
It's gonna be
actually not. It's not at all. It's not at all. I've actually caught a 5-foot timber rattler by hand.
Really?
Yeah, we used to years ago. I mean, well, not timbers. They were
Not
just
timbers.
diamondbacks, but
Yeah,
still.
the Easterns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think when I caught my first one, I was 15.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, people laugh. They're like, "No, you didn't." We're like, we were out there every day catching these
I did.
things.
Believe it or not, at one point in time, I was growing up on a farm. I was fast enough to chase down a rabbit.
Yeah, that's pretty fast. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, it sounds sensational. It's not that sensational. There's a trick to it.
Uh-oh.
So, if you're out in a hayfield and you're combining that hay, all the rabbits that are in that field run to the middle.
Yeah.
So when you get down the last few rows, those rabbits have to run to the tree line. The tree line might be 200 yards away.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can stay on that rabbit till it's about 100 yards and not let it get farther than about 6 feet in front of you and stay on it, 100 yards is all they got.
That's about it.
Just give up. Yeah.
They're spent. You can walk up to it and pick it up.
Just fall over.
Yeah, they're done.
Yeah. That's funny.
Pretty true. Yep. Fast as hell for about that 100 yards, and then they're out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same as me now, except I'm slow at that 100, and I'm still out.
10 yards.
Yes, about 10 is all I got in there.
Yeah.
I'll watch.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to do is watch. We're going to drag Jamie back out. We're hitting that point. Jamie's got a trivia question left for the audience, the people that have stuck it out.
Yeah.
Forge coin in their pocket if they can come up with whatever the heck she came up with. So,
All right, are we ready?
yeah, what'd you get tonight, Jamie?
Josh's first Morphmarket female from 2022. How many clutches has she given him?
Oh, that's a good question. We'll see who's paying attention.
Yep.
Right? That's
a
the
good
goal,
one.
right? It's a good question, yeah. I like that.
And she was born in 2020.
Right, you got her basically close, right?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Boy, that was
Mitzi.
quick.
Mitzi's paying attention.
Yeah.
She is.
Absolutely none. And she may not go now. So last year, she got up to 18 millimeters and decided she's not going to eat.
And she even got the follow-up.
She reabsorbed. And I said, God, I hate you. I said, I thought, I got to know about you. You've given me a fit the whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I expected this. This time she's going to go. She's glowing. She's 22 millimeters, and she's still eating. So I got one more lot to do, and then she'll go.
Good.
Nice.
I think she will too, man. That's going the right direction.
Yeah.
That is
She
a
better.
funny story, though.
If you see her up on Morphmarket, you better grab her because she'll damn sure give somebody else a clutch.
Option, no reserve. Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
No, that's not happening.
I was just going to say, call us first. Don't be putting her on Morphmarket.
She's
Give us a ring.
beautiful.
Yeah, she's
I'm
super
excited
pretty.
to see her babies.
I picked up,
sure.
when I was talking about earlier, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep going on, but I picked
No,
up
you're fine.
Xanthic Pod Het Clown male that later this year I'm putting to a ODDG Clown female.
Oh,
Ooh,
Nice.
really
very
nice.
cool.
So that's, when I'm saying working opposite ends of the project, that's part of that project that'll bring me closer.
Absolutely.
Without hypo, but regardless, it's closer.
Right.
And I love the OD aspect.
Yeah, an OD into that is fantastic. Everything I've seen OD work into Xanthic, chef's kiss.
Hold on, I got the best one.
We're definitely going to look if you got the best one.
Congrats, Mitzi. You're up to $20 Forge coin now, so I know you are looking at getting a shirt.
She's getting one from us either way.
Yeah.
But she can grab someone else's shirt.
For sure.
Boy, Look at behind the head there. I love that little bit of glow.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's got a heart on the back of the head.
Yeah.
Yep. But that little peach glow behind the cheeks there, that is
very pretty.
Pause. Hold on. Did I just?
He's missing a lot of pattern. So when it was first hatched, it didn't come from me. It come from Justin. It's a Canova animal I bought.
Okay.
So that is a super orange dream, inchy, yellow belly, exanthic, hurricane, pied.
Very nice.
That thing is incredible.
That's a male.
I'm curious to see that exanthic Crebo when you get it. That's gotta be crazy
I'm
too.
going to. I need to call John Michael. He's at Black Pearl Reptiles. I do some business with John, so he's got a waiting list on them. I haven't inquired yet. I'm eventually going to do that because I love the blacktails. I want to add the Yucatan, which are really rusty red.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I want to add the exanthic. So all blacktails. I love yellowtails, but I'm a bigger fan of the blacktail.
Yeah. I have not seen one,
animal.
but my guess is exanthic's got to be pretty crazy on those guys.
I'll send you a picture. You can actually go on blackpearlreptiles.com and you can look one up there.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep getting an echo.
Oh, it isn't transferring. So
No, don't hear it on this end.
No, it's on my end. So when I keep pausing, that's the reason why.
Okay. No worries at all. Well, Josh, we certainly appreciate it. I have a new ring-tailed
cat.
Something here. My cat decided he's going to come join. This is Griff. He had to be part of the show tonight, but he's a piece of work, this one. And only so long I can sit.
Cats that live here but don't live here. We feed them.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of that in this area with all the farms and things around.
Yeah.
But appreciate it a ton, Josh. I hope everybody took a little bit of something from it. I know you got a long background in this. We got to see some things I was not at all familiar with and great knowledge on that side of it. So I can't thank you enough for taking your time out tonight and sitting down with us, going through all of that stuff.
Anytime.
Yeah, if you need anything down the road from us too, you know where to reach out. We'll always give the answer and reply and definitely appreciate it. So.
And if I'm not mistaken, you've got credit with me right now.
I'm not sure. Did we?
Yeah,
on one of the auctions?
Keys auction?
I think I might have.
Yeah, you got $500 credit with me, I'm pretty sure.
I think so. Sweet.
It was either you or
Morph Valley, but I'm 99% sure it's you.
Okay. I'll look into it. I'm going to be 100% honest. Most of that stuff, I go to a lot of them, and I just see stuff going for like, this is a good cause. I can't see it go for that, so I bump stuff. I'll be real honest. Sometimes I just grab things that I don't keep a great list in my head, and I'm just like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure you got $500 off with me.
I was going to say at one point we started a list of all the things, but
I'm Jamie.
Going back and looking.
Yeah.
You know what, Jamie? He doesn't have any geckos.
No geckos.
No, if I did, nobody would want to buy them because I would want to keep tokays.
Oh, yeah.
I love tokays.
The biters, yes. Yep.
Yeah, there's this side of me that's like, all right, let's get this. This is going to be exciting. Good times.
I have one leopard gecko that wants to latch onto your finger every time you open her bin.
Yeah.
That's a little shocking.
It's okay with the leopard. It's not as fun with the tokay.
True.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I will definitely look into that. That's very possible. I'm not saying you're wrong. I do know that we bid on a lot of stuff, and sometimes it lands in my lap, and I was completely not expecting it. I would love that we had a $500 credit with you. So I'm going to definitely look.
Yeah, I just figured you were holding out to see what happens with the rest of these clutches.
It's possible.
He's going to make me wait till December 31st.
Right.
Exactly. But yeah, man, much respect. Super appreciate it, Josh. Hang out. We're going to run the outro. We've got Jeff from Bald Head Balls next week. It's going to be another fun one.
I love Jeff.
Oh, big dude, great personality. Mm-hmm. Jeff is going to be fun.
Love Jeff.
Yeah, so come hang out with us next week, guys. It might be changing up shortly. We're going to leave the next one at 8:30, but we're going to make that decision here shortly. We might bump this a half hour earlier for everybody's sake. So, Josh, again, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
100%.
Guys, I appreciate everything.
Yeah. Everybody else, finish out your week strong. 2 days left. You got a weekend coming up. And we'll catch you here, same time, same place next week. Thanks, guys. Hopefully the closing works. Fingers crossed.